Richard Carlton, and welcome to the end of a very long day here for Claris's Engage 2020. It's basically a rebranded online version of Devcon. This is going to be a short summary from a couple people who are watching the action going on. And so we have a lot of conversation going on over here in Discord. You can see that. I wanted to invite a couple people to sit in and to discuss what was going on, what they thought, what they liked, was there maybe their top piece. Nick, can you show us where you're at? Where are you? Show us your camera there.
I'm here.
And there he is. There's Nick. All right, awesome. So yeah, welcome. So I'm looking at the schedule over here for day one, and so opening. I'm just going to run through the sessions real quick. So the question is whether you want to watch the sessions or not, and that's a really great question. So because most of these are all going to be recorded, they'll be available to you, and so you have your opening keynote. Go to Christian. Christian.
To be honest, there wasn't a whole lot in the keynote that stood out to me. I think it kind of transitioned into the next two sessions. It seemed like the real big focus right now is kind of on the potability of the XML add-ons and the JavaScript integration and kind of where they're going with that. But not to put the keynote down, but there wasn't a lot that really jumped out to me in that specific session.
Yeah, the keynote was pretty lightweight because they pivoted forward mostly into like 19 is great. Here it is. Basically, Nick, I mean, they're talking about add-on modules, really the future. So the second session was kind of a technical under the hood a little bit, as much as you could fit in about 40 minutes. Then there was more of like the strategic importance of add-ons. So what's your thought process on that? I mean, I think those are, if you're not familiar with add-ons or the concept of add-ons, I think those two sessions are useful.
Yeah, the add-ons is, as I said, is not the holy grail. It's the beginning of, I think, a process that will take several years, even a decade, before we get to the point where finally we have in FileMaker a UI when you are designing your solution that makes sense. The problem, I was talking about that many years ago when I was still over there, that the problem of FileMaker, it's an historical software with a lot of things that comes from decades ago, and like the value list and the sort dialog and all those things never got redesigned, let's say rebuilt in the product. So now they, like I said earlier, they are banging their head on the reality of what they have. So the add-ons is great for small things or repeating. Like Todd Guy said something interesting. He said, okay, he's going to use that internally. And I think that's what I'm going to do too. I'm going to use that internally to make my building process to my customer faster, and then save money to my customer. Save both money to my customer and time. Okay, so I'm going to use add-on for my own, so it's not like something that will revolutionize the world for beginners and stuff like that. That will be something many developers will use. So, but it's an interesting starting point, like they said that many times too, for the future. But the other part of the day that was interesting is the design session. Obviously, is this, okay. They are saying pretty much what our people are hearing from us for 5-6 years since we redesigned the FM starting point. Richard, they are listening this from us since then. So the design is not just, how cool the button is looking like or how cool the portal is looking like. No, it's not this. Design is the fundamental if you want to have a solution that is attractive, not painful to use, thus something that is efficient. Okay, so this is very important. And then that leads to something which is the last topic that I want to talk about, is the performance. And Clay laid down everything that you need to know. That means, you can have a kick server and you can add whatever RAM you want and stuff like that. If you will gain like 10% of performance or 20% of your performance, but it won't be night and day. What will be night and day will be like an efficient, a good design and a good process, like, calculation and stuff like that. So he explained that. So that things we cover many times. So I'm glad that I heard what I wanted to hear. And that the only thing that I'm happy is that now finally, like Jacob said, they are acknowledging their weaknesses and they're working on this. But at the same time, it's working both ways. I don't know if people can see my camera.
Yeah,
it's working both ways.
They can see you.
Yes, FileMaker needs to work on their side and make better product with multi-threading and stuff like that. That they started to do that since FileMaker 14, so it's not news to me. But multi-threading and stuff like that. That's one way, and the other way is us as RCC and professional and consultant to train and teach to our users how to build better solution, more efficient. So it's two ways, right? But the big chunk is on our side, is not on the FileMaker side. So don't be the lazy one. Say, okay, hey, I'm waiting FileMaker to do all the job. I keep continuing doing the calculation the way I'm doing. No, you need to work on your side while FileMaker is helping you a little bit. That's how you need
I
to
agree with that. So I think if you're waiting for FileMaker to make your solution faster, you're going to be waiting a very long time. So the summary of the videos that were recorded today, they open in Keynote, which is more of just kind of like welcome and we're great. And then there was the under the hood, the next two at 10 o'clock and basically 11 o'clock were basically JavaScript and add-ons. One was how to build it, and the other one was why it's important. I think Christian, and Nick, they've talked about this. I'm not going to belabor it, but the modularity in the FileMaker platform, like true code portability, has not existed. It's been missing. It's obvious that we need that. And then the one session that I thought was a little bit better for me personally, but if you're a very senior person, was the Rick Kalman session. I think that was around lunch. And then after that was a design session. Once again, because I live with Nick all the time, for me it was like old school, because Nick's always up my rear end on the design stuff anyway. And then lastly, they had a session on their join table, which is kind of this nonprofit volunteerism that they're doing, which is fine. And there's some interesting things with that, but you can watch that session if you're interested. So Christian, any final comments about the things that you saw today that are interesting?
I just want to echo one thing Nick said there with like you said, without beating this idea down, but for some of our end users, to me, one of the real appeals for these add-ons, and Todd Geis, I think, showed a great example of this with that picker tool.
And that would have been which session? That would have been the 10 o'clock session, right?
I believe that was, yes. I believe that was the
10 o'clock Tuesday, August 4th. That way you know which one we're talking about.
Absolutely. And what I liked about that one is, to use Starting Point, our product as an example, we have a magnifying glass very similar to the icon or identical almost to what Todd Geist had there. And so all throughout Starting Point, we can click a button so that we can relate one section of the database to another section of the database. And Nick, I remember when you came in and improved Starting Point, you took what were a whole series of scripts specific to every module, and you made them a bit more dynamic. You reduced the number that we had substantially. And one of the things I thought was so cool with what Todd did there is he's like, look, we can just drag and drop this on. And one of the things when I'm expanding Starting Point for my clients is inevitably that process of dropping that magnifying glass in the selection process comes up again and again and again, and we've reduced the amount of time it takes to build something like this. But I'm hoping that with these add-ons, we can continue to reduce those things, because like Nick said, and this has been one of my big points, is I don't need to necessarily go market an add-on to the whole world so much as I can put it in my tool belt. And if I can more quickly produce that, then my end client's going to get much better bang for their buck out of FileMaker, and we can do bigger and greater things. So I think of it sometimes like with I always heard that the difference between a master chess player and a beginner chess player is that they can both see about 7 moves ahead. The difference between the master and the beginner is that the master groups moves together, and so what is one move for them actually turns out to be a whole series of moves. And I think that these libraries and these add-ons is essentially kind of like that master chess player. We're able to group more items together, and the more items that we get grouped together, the faster we can produce certain things for our clients, and the more we can the further we can take the platform.
Back in the day when I was there, this what they call add-ons. Okay, we were calling that code library. That means because here's the flow. The add-ons. The add-ons flow is like if you rely on this only, you will end up having a patchwork as a solution, but not a solution. I mean, those patchwork of multiple cloth, different patterns and stuff like that. That's what you will have because you have the button from Toddgeist that is different from the style, the design, and the coding technique is different than my navigation stuff. Your menu is different, so you have a different style, a different type of thing. So that is why this for a beginner can be challenge, can add more challenge than resolving problems. Okay, so I think FileMaker is going to work on this. Okay, so but I see I will use it. I'm not downgrading this, but I just say hey, I understand FileMaker is making a big deal of this, but it's not the end of the world at all.
Yeah, it doesn't resolve all the issues, of course. Once again, the opening session was kind of a little bit of who we are, a little fluff, and then it moved into pretty much 2 hours of what is JavaScript and add-ons and why is it important. Then a session that I actually more liked because it was a little bit more forward-facing. And there was a little bit of conversation. Todd Thatcher is back briefly to Claris, helping them with, I guess, the Linux version of Server. And then, of course, driving customers with design experience. So there's various videos here. Feel free to check them out. As always, if you have questions about the FileMaker platform, feel free to reach out to us at supportrcconsulting.com. If you need coaching or assistance or help, or you have questions or totally confused by, we have a whole team of people that can answer your questions. So that's it for today. Just a short summary for everyone. Miles Debsky, any parting final comments from you? I don't want to leave Miles out.
Nothing really to add. I agree with everything you guys said, and yeah, my kind of expectations were more that we'll get more tomorrow, and so that's what I'm still hoping for.
Yeah, tomorrow should be more forward-facing, future-facing, which should be interesting. So that's it for now. We'll catch you tomorrow. Appreciate it. And it's Richard Carlton, creator of fmtraining.tv. We'll catch you in another video.
Just stepped up the whole way. Calm, cool, collected the quarterback. Great read, good patience. More importantly, great job up front protecting this quarterback to give you a chance. And that's all you can ask for.
Trying to rally down 10. 9:25 to go here in the fourth. Short motion by Amendola from the left. Brady takes the shotgun snap. Stands in, throws it left for Amendola. Reaches up and snacks a high throw and lands inside the 10. Rolling to the 9. Ball slightly behind him, but Danny makes the grab.